returns home, and the big town's trying to show her that it thinks a whole lot of Amelia Earhart. England and France and Italy and the others were marvelous to the famous woman flyer, but she's back home with her own people now.
In her time, Amelia Earhart was a darling of the media and the world. Greeted with huge celebrations after her solo nonstop flight across the Atlantic Ocean in 1932 at the age of 34. To understand just how big she was, even an unexpected landing at a farm in Northern Ireland was a major news story.
How far out were you when you first had the engine trouble?
It wasn't exactly engine trouble. It was the exhaust only, the exhaust manifold. I should say I was 3 hours out of Harbor Grace.
Where did you actually make your landing, Miss Earhart?
I cruised inland until I found a suitable pasture. I landed there after frightening all the cows in the neighborhood and rolled up to the farmer's front door.
Who was the first person you saw?
The owner of the land came out. I think he was surprised to find an airplane in his front yard.
And 3 years later, the frenzy only turned up. In 1935, she conquered the Pacific.
The plane arriving at Oakland, California is piloted by Miss Amelia Earhart, the only woman to fly the Atlantic solo. And she has just completed the 2,400-mile flight across the Pacific from Hawaii in a land machine by herself. She deserves the welcome she gets, for no other woman and no man has flown both the Pacific and Atlantic solo.
Now, with several notable flights under her belt, she was ready to take on her next challenge, a round-the-world flight with co-pilot Fred Noonan. By June 1st, 1937, it was no stretch to call her world famous. The media was there as the aviator and her navigator took off in their flying laboratory from Miami, Florida. This was her second attempt to circle the globe.
Amelia Earhart and her crew at Oakland, California, ready for her great aerial adventure, a round-the-world flight by way of the equator, a journey no pilot has yet attempted. The machine is heavy with extra petrol, and so the takeoff is the critical moment. A long run on the ground and a slow rise into the air, and she's away.
But they would never reach their destination. In July, the plane went missing over the Central Pacific Ocean.
Amelia Earhart and her navigator Fred Noonan have come to grief in their perilous round-the-world flight. Several hundred miles from Howland Island in the mid-Pacific, their great plane, fitted out as a flying laboratory, is down, stranded on a coral reef, it's believed, from fragmentary and weak radio calls for help. Up to that point, their globe-circling trip, their hops from continent to continent, had been a triumph of flying and air navigation.
A massive search was launched.
Coast Guard cutters and Navy ships and planes are rushing to their aid. Among them, the aircraft carrier Lexington, under forced draft from San Diego with 72 planes aboard. The two intrepid flyers missed the tiny dot that is Howland Island in their 25-mile hop from New Guinea and were forced down by lack of fuel.
By the middle of July, the search was called off. And in 1939, Earhart was declared legally dead. Ideas surrounding the plane's disappearance would circulate for years.